Y'all, we live in difficult times. There's war, political unrest, the pandemic, poverty, families being torn, communities ripped by gun violence and people dying every day. Police, injustice, it's all bringing so much pain. But y'all, we can look inside our minds and we can understand who we are, become better, and do this thing like we've never done it before. But it all starts with our mental health, and I know we can do it. I believe in you because I believe in me, and I believe in us. Welcome, and thank you for joining in to another episode of Therapy is Life, where thinking, feeling, and experiencing well-being is what we do. We're gonna finish our discussion around character, and I hope you won't be like donuts and be some zeros. Yes. So we're gonna start with flexibility, but before we get into that, Reese, you ever come up with a song?
Nah, I didn't. I gotta come up with a song, man. I gotta think about one. Cause I want to come up with a good song.
Oh,
I want to come up with a good song.
Yeah, we missed you on that last one.
Yeah, we did.
I think he's being such a perfectionist that he's just making it so hard on himself.
They ain't one of them Drake songs, man. Don't none of the Drake songs motivate you to say for the top?
Yeah. No, they do. But I was working out the Hove earlier.
Oh,
looking out to the Blueprint and the Black Album.
Okay.
So, my first song is
Gotcha.
unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely can get a couple extra reps into that.
Yeah, you know what? Right now, another song I be thinking about is Bob Marley. Exodus. The movement of the people. Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. You seen that movie on Bob Marley?
I saw
I
that.
didn't see it.
Powerful movie,
I
man.
didn't see it.
That was a powerful movie,
It was a
man.
tearjerker.
Tearjerker, man. It was such a sad song. I mean, sad story. I'll never look at No Woman, No Cry the same way I used to look at it.
Yeah.
Now I understand the backstory.
Story of it, yeah. Bob was.
Yeah,
Bob
I
was a beast,
didn't
man.
see that.
It was a beast, man.
Oh, you gotta watch that. Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, you gotta watch that, man. But seriously, y'all, in our last discussion, we was talking about character, and of course, I made the comments about donuts, but we ended up talking about resiliency. So I thought we would start with flexibility. And obviously, flexibility deals with our ability to adapt and adjust to life situations and experiences that we might face day to day. Obviously, right now, we need to be flexible. Woo! Because the winds of change are blowing. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking about what's his name? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind.
He be coming up with the songs.
Hey, you got a million songs in his
I gotta
head,
get
man.
better. I gotta
Man,
get better.
I'm an artist. I can't
gotta
even think
get
of that
better.
many.
I gotta get better.
Is that Bob
Yeah.
Dylan? I think that's what it is. Yeah.
You got a wide range, brother.
No, you do.
Yeah, boy. Look. When I was a kid, right? I grew up in the South, and at one point I lived in a trailer park. And one of my favorite friends or best friend I hung out with was a boy by the name of a Caucasian persuasion, named Thomas. And Thomas, man, he had a guitar, and we would go and we would just start playing guitars together and playing all these different songs and everything, man. And that was one of the days. Of course, we did some Elvis Presley back in the day, and I didn't understand, who he really was. But
I didn't see that movie either.
A pirate was what he was. He stole the art.
he stole the art. But what's y'all thoughts on being flexible, man? Of course,
Man,
I'm flexible, right?
I mean, you have to be, to your point, especially in today's times. I think you have to be flexible in today's times and just in general, because when they say, like, if you're not flexible, you too stiff, you're going to break, right? And, being structured, having a schedule, having, an idea of where you want to go is important. But you also have to understand that life just doesn't always work out how you want it to work, And so with that, to guard your own mental health from when it doesn't work like that, being flexible or having a mind frame of being flexible allows you to be able to adapt easier. And, I had to learn that, especially through parenthood, being flexible with, my kids and understanding, at that point, life wasn't just about me anymore. It wasn't just about what I want to do and how I want things to flow. I got other people who I have to adapt my life to, as well as, work and being a husband and, being a son to my parents. So it's just like, it's so much that life brings you, you have to be able to kind of bend and flow with it, and when you're not flexible, you rigid and you tight and you just things have to go this type of way. As soon as it doesn't go that way for you, you're gonna break. You're gonna melt down. You're gonna feel like, man, what's wrong? But life doesn't work like that. Life has so many different twists and turns and ups and downs to it. You have to be able to be flexible just to maneuver through it.
Yeah, and I think too, being flexible is super important, and it's not one of my strong suits that I got to really get better at, because I'm so focused on the work or so focused on my schedule that I don't have the ability to pivot sometimes. And it really could kind of get in the way of like family time or being flexible to say, all right, let me put this project down and go out to eat with my sister or my niece, or trying to learn how to be flexible, because you can't be too stern. Because like you said, if it don't go the way you want it to go and you break, then how do you get back? So I think being flexible is extremely important when you're trying to balance everything. And I don't have kids, so I know that's a whole nother level of balance. But just trying to still find flexible time to spend time with my mom, go to see my grandpa, spend time with my niece, go to her volleyball games, but still focus on work or still focus on friend time. So it is a lot, but trying to adapt and learn what's best for you to be flexible, I think it's super important.
Yeah, you know what? When you think about personality, you could be more static or dynamic, or somewhere in between. Static, you kind of stay right where you are. But when you dynamic, it gives you the opportunity to could be considered to change. And flexibility allows you to make more connections and be open to different things in such a way that creates an environment for you to have, I would say, more positive, constructive experiences. Sometimes we stuck on being stupid, you know? And, I know I'm a therapist, so I shouldn't say that, right? But sometimes we can be, right? Just stuck there. And so we won't change, and we'll keep doing the same thing over and over again. And we looking for like some different type of result. Like, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting this, different result. You can't do that. Yeah. So we want to be flexible, because maybe you'll come across some idea or some situation, some experience that will allow us to improve. Maybe we can find a place where we can compromise with other people and work. When we stuck in our own little box, it's hard to find new opportunity because we don't want to go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Music is wonderful, right? But we talked about the bass line. But if you ever listen to jazz, there's a appreciation for the bass line. But if an artist is going to riff, they have to know how to think outside the box of their fundamental music line. So you ain't gonna hit no, if you listen to Boney James or Najee or and they hitting some line, they are actually improvising.
Yeah.
So they thinking outside of the box. They being flexible with the music. And then everybody's on that. James Brown would have never been James Brown if he didn't think outside the box. Michael Jackson or quote unquote Michael Jackson or Prince or Kendrick Lamar, like he would have never been he was. He thought outside the box.
Yep. And what Mike Tyson's famous line is, everybody got a game plan until you get punched in the mouth. So when that situation come up that you got to improvise, you got to figure it out on the spot. You got to be able to get wiggly with it. You know what I mean? Right. Like you got to be able to, you got to bob and weave at that point, man. You know.
As what was that? As what's his name? Will Smith. Will
getting jiggy with it. No,
Yeah.
no, but anyway, like, so
Ladies and gentlemen, he just quoted Will Smith.
Tough.
you gotta get jiggy.
Hey, no, he got a new album though that's tough though.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
he gonna actually come out.
Will
with
has a new album.
Man, he back spitting too. Man.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I did watch his. He was on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, and I watched that, and I seen he's on Drink Champs. So
what's up?
he has
Back.
some wisdom, but anyway.
That's what's up.
He
Look,
definitely is flexible because he had to maneuver through a lot.
yeah,
Nah, yeah.
entrepreneurs have to be flexible because if you are the type of person that always need to see your money all the time, a certain way, a certain amount, all the time, if you can't deal with no drought, none of those kind of things, you don't need to be an entrepreneur.
Nah, yeah.
You got to be able to understand that it's gonna have ebbs and flows. So you got to be able to tell yourself that you're gonna be okay. And I think so often when people struggle with being flexible, it goes back to their self-worth and how they see their experience. Look, if you believe that you're okay and you're gonna be okay, it's gonna work itself out.
Yes, it
That's
is.
a foundation of working through those ebbs and flows. But if you see yourself as, oh my God, if this don't happen this way, it's the end of the world, then it's less likely to be able to be flexible in those situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and moving on to the next one, let's talk about the idea of discipline, man. What is discipline, man? Shucks.
Go ahead. You
so I
spark it
start-
off, man, since you had your workout this morning, man.
Oh no, discipline. Yeah, discipline is extremely important. I think everyone should try to practice some sort of discipline. Otherwise, you're just gonna be out here just wilding out or not having no real structure or having no real plan. Yeah, you got to be disciplined if you want to achieve anything in life.
Right. Exactly.
So if you want to buy a house, you have to be disciplined to save your money to not eat canes. But if you want to, you don't like the way you look and you got to work out. Discipline is like going to the gym. Discipline about, reading, or it just plays into everything that you want to do. Like your everyday life, you have to be disciplined. Even when you getting in the car, like I got to be disciplined enough to not text while I'm driving, to pay attention.
Right.
So discipline is something that you gotta have. You gotta have every day. You gotta practice it, and just start off small. Maybe discipline is you just getting up a little bit earlier to read a book, and then that might lead you to working out, or that might lead you to, and everything goes hand to hand too. I learned that in life. Like when I'm super locked in and focused and I'm super disciplined and I'm like getting up early and I got a book for the month and I'm working out and I'm, practicing, being disciplined, going to church on Sunday, making sure I get there early, it always pours into my personal life. It always pours into my work life.
Yeah.
It always pours into my friendships, my relationships. So discipline is really, like, you gotta have that trait. If you don't have discipline, then you're gonna be lost.
Hey,
You're gonna be lost.
Go ahead.
And I always say this, and this is one of my quotes. Y'all can take this. Y'all can keep this.
The Book of Mormon.
Yeah, the Book of Mormon. Y'all can
Mormon.
keep this one, I promise. I always say, I'm disciplined in a world full of undisciplined people. Because the world is filled with unfocused people and people who aren't disciplined.
Yeah.
Y'all can keep that.
They keep
Keep
that.
that.
Yeah,
That's a
keep
jewel
that.
right there.
That's free.
For
Y'all
Maury,
keep that.
Copyright
Yeah,
that.
y'all keep that one. I promise.
Yeah. I was I was blessed, man, to live in a real balance, to grow up in a balanced household where, my mother, she was the ultimate nurturer. She showed me, so much love and showed me, how to have a lot of compassion. My father did too, but my father was the disciplinarian. My father was a ex Air Force drill sergeant. And so that carried on to how he raised me, being his only son, only child, period. And my father was so, my friends used to clown, man, because the things that I used to have to do, man, was just like crazy. They used to be like, man, Jamal about to be cutting the grass with a pair of scissors over there, man, and that type of stuff. Like Saturday mornings, when all my friends was, sleeping in and being able to play the video game for however long, man, my pops would get me up at 8 o'clock in the morning, cut the lights on. Boy, get out of bed. You got chores. hit me with the laundry list of chores that I had to do, and I mean, he wouldn't let me slide. Like it was like he going back expecting, inspecting the chores, and if it was still some dust mites in that corner, man, go and get them dust mites, and so he stayed on me. And growing up, I despised it. I didn't understand why I had to go through this like that. But now, as a grown man, I know how to practice discipline. I know how to have discipline and how to have structure in my life like that. And, to your point of like, even when you're doing it, sometimes discipline doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always, feel good to consistently wake up every day and work out. You don't feel like it sometimes, but you do it for the results. The results in the end, showing discipline, you get good results off of it. You stay to the grind of working out, you're going to get, in shape.
Right.
You stay on the grind of saving your money, you're going to be able to have money to be able to do something, to make a power move.
Right.
So discipline, it don't always feel great, but the end results is positive.
Hey, you know what, y'all, man? Listen, thinking about this discipline, it's kind of funny what I'm about to say, but I was talking to somebody one day, and she was a older woman, and that she was single, but she takes care of herself. She works out and stuff, and she said to me, I'm hoping that I find somebody one at some point. And she said, I don't want a hospice husband. And I said, what do you mean by hospice
husband?
What does that mean?
And
Like,
she
about to
said,
be dead?
basically, no, you said some man who basically get married because he wants a woman to take care of him, but he ain't taking care of himself, so he don't go to the gym. He ain't got financially.
real
He
discipline.
ain't take care of his business. He ain't got no discipline.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was.
Yeah.
I thought that was it.
That's an ill term, though.
It
They say a
is.
hospice husband.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not.
But I feel like discipline is also learned because I didn't grow up that way. Like I grew up with me, my mom, and my older sister. So I had a lot of leeway. Like I didn't have that male figure like take the trash out
Right.
or cut the grass or
Right.
do certain things. So I feel like sometimes discipline has to be like learned.
How did you learn
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How did you learn it?
Just wanting better for myself. My uncle was on me too a lot.
Right.
My uncle was on me a lot growing up. And I used to be like, bro, this is so annoying.
Gotcha.
But I just think you just have to just decide like if you really want better for yourself. And if you do, it requires discipline.
And that goes. Go ahead.
It has
go
to
ahead.
be like, no, I was just saying it just sometimes it's got to be learned.
Gotcha. And that goes to the next point. Ambition. How do y'all see ambition?
Man, ambition is just that drive, that fervor for life, man, to want to just see better than what you have, like better than where your present state is. You see something greater for yourself, so it's tied to your goals and your dreams. Your ambition connects all those. That drive that keeps you, moving forward, propelling forward towards it. Because I think if you don't have the ambition, you're gonna, be lazy. You're not gonna have that drive. You're not gonna have that next motor to take you to that next level. So
Right, exactly.
that's ambition.
And so you have discipline and that to move you through your ambition.
Right.
Discipline to move through your ambition.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
and you
right.
know, I like what you did. Because even in the last episode and in this episode, like everything we talk about all is going like hand in hand.
It's connected.
Like you gotta be honest. You gotta have resilience. You gotta be disciplined. If you don't have those things, like you probably don't have ambition.
Right.
So I think all that really do go hand in hand. And yeah, man, ambition is just wanting more, and whatever that is, and being like just a better person and doing whatever it takes to achieve that.
Yeah.
I think all that goes into
Now-
being ambitious.
Now, let me ask y'all this, because you talked about the integrity and honesty. When does ambition and integrity and honesty clash?
When does it clash?
When can it clash?
I think it can clash when it maybe, I think it can clash from a personal perspective when it stops your ability to encounter with others or to be able to have that empathy, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, better have empathy.
Because sometimes I can relate to the fact that my ambition and my drive and my discipline, it made me look at others who don't have that or who lack the level of it that I have as like, man, they're slackers. You know what I mean? Or like something's wrong with them. You know what I'm saying? But they might just not be tapped into the same thing I'm tapped into. And so I think it can clash when it almost turns into a level of arrogance and your ego connects with it where it makes you feel like you better than somebody because you have that.
Right. Or you sacrifice your morals, your personal ethics and values
To get it.
So
That too.
You get it, you know.
That too.
So now it becomes, look, I'm willing to
I know where you're going.
sacrifice anybody or anything to have it. And so is that
Greed.
like
it goes into greed,
selfishness.
How much is enough?
How much is enough? And I don't care who I sacrifice, who I hurt to get it, as long as I have it. That's when ambition, unless you don't have no values, unless you don't have, no values. And sometimes we look at people that are successful and we'll think that these are good people, when in all reality, they have no real, true values. And the only thing they care about is the bottom line money.
So like being ambition.
Ooh, I got one for you.
So being in
that
ambition or having ambition, being ambitious, I should say, some people are overly like that and they don't be honest because they're gonna do whatever it takes to get
whatever it takes, or either
to achieve whatever they want to achieve.
and they might do something they really lousy at, but if they can make money off of it, and then they could maybe be successful, because maybe I'm a good basketball player, I'm gonna try to go over here and do this. I really ain't good at it, but because who I am, my name, boom, but I'm lousy at it, right? Let Gerald do the therapy stuff. I'm gonna stick with basketball.
Yeah.
Yep.
But let you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, man, like I had this conversation in the shop last week, man, and I really don't want to name drop because the brother is going through some stuff right now. But it's like, man, we were talking about what kind of messed up hip hop culture, right? And it was like that can't stop, won't stop mentality, right? And if you know what can't stop, won't stop, who phrased that, you know what I'm saying? The brother who going through something right now, who kind of currently locked up, it's like you go by any means to get to a higher level, to get money, success. And it don't matter if I gotta give people bad contracts. It don't matter if I gotta just step on people and this aggression of I'm gonna do it by any means to get on a higher level. It's like, and to put myself in all these avenues, I'm gonna promote this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this and that. And you do it to the level of I'm doing it where it's no regard for human feelings or how people feel related to how I'm succeeding in life. You know,
Right, exactly.
I kill somebody to be able to get to that next level.
Exactly.
You know, so
Let me ask a question then. But does that make that person a bad person?
If you gonna kill somebody to
No, not kill, not murder.
to do anything to get
but
it.
to do anything to get the bottom line or whatever they, to be a billionaire, to be the mogul, to have multiple houses and the dream car and the jewelry and the private jets, and does that make that person a bad person?
I'll never say that's a bad person because that's not what I do, right? But the question is, when you sell out your morals and ethics, if you had any at the beginning, and you sell out just to have all, what does that say about who you are in the end? Because to have all of this, is something. Listen, I heard somebody say this, and I think this is very, very appropriate for, like, what is kindness?
Like what is like to
Yeah, what is
just
kindness? Because that's one of the character things too. What is kindness?
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it.
no, kindness is just just lending a helping hand, being kind, opening up the door for somebody, thinking about their feelings, thinking about them, putting their feelings above yours, I say, to a certain extent.
Okay, so check this out. Kindness. I heard somebody say I learned this in dialectical behavior therapy, and I think it's in other therapy modalities also. Like when we act interpersonal effectiveness, we should act in a way that we seek to do good for ourselves, but not to intentionally harm others. So when people become ambitious, they lack kindness, and they intentionally hurt other people to gain. What do you call that?
Right, but I know I see what you're saying, but I'm just like, but does that make them
It's all about your moral
bad
compass.
person?
But does it make their actions good? Now we might not say that person's a bad person because all people have value, but does it make their actions good?
Right.
When you sell out everything to have something.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I love what Maya Angelou said. What did she say? She said, people will remember what you said, may not remember, I think, what you did. But if they remember how you made them
treated them.
feel, how you treated them, that's what's most important.
Yeah, but the
'Cause
sacrifice.
that's the lasting effect of
That's
it.
the lasting effect.
Yeah,
So if somebody is just focused on being ambitious to the point that they will sacrifice the feelings and emotions of other people, and they don't have the ability to be kind, then their actions is lacking something.
Yeah.
right. I'm not disagreeing. I just was wondering what y'all thought.
Yeah.
But we thought I'm not
Maybe
gonna
that-
call him. I'm not gonna
bad
call him a
person.
bad person, but I'm gonna say the actions are against or contrary to the greater good for themselves and for the people around them. Because I can think about a lot of very ambitious, successful people that are very successful, but they don't care about nobody. All I really want to
Yeah.
say, they don't really care about us.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent, like if you are really like super focused or like you really ambitious and you trying to like achieve something to like no ends meet, you kind of gotta somewhat to a certain degree like have that ability to not care.
To some degree,
It's
I
a
think
fine balance.
It is a fine balance, but like
fine balance.
I'm saying like if you want to like be like you know to reach hundreds of millions and millions of dollars,
right.
you have to like think about think about like Jordan. I don't think Michael Jordan's a bad person.
Ask
but
Scottie Pippen.
He is his him being so ambitious and wanting to win so bad. Did he hurt feelings? Yes.
Yeah.
Did he do some things that was unethical? Yes. Did he punch Steve Kerr? Yes. But at the end of the day, his goal was to win multiple championships, and he accomplished that
He did.
And everybody
So-
that he hurt, they ultimately benefited
from the
that
situation.
process. Now I don't know how his kids felt about
So-
it, how his wife felt about it. I don't
To
know.
a certain degree,
Scottie
like
Pippen said he don't mess with Jordan at all.
He
said
don't,
no
but-
words for him.
But Scotty won championships with him. I guarantee Scotty would rather, if he could do it all over, he would do it again and be on the Bulls 2-time 3P instead of being with another team and not winning at all.
And
I think-
Charles Barkley.
I would rather be, I'm not going to be Charles Barkley.
Yeah. So listen, I hear what you're saying in that particular context, but they also remember this. There's a lot of very successful people who never even thought about being where they at, but they did what they was doing as they was walking through the process, and it happened for them, but they never thought about it like you might say he did. Like Oprah Winfrey, she'll tell you to this day, look, and it was luck. You know, I was just doing it, went from one thing to another thing to another thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And whether you like her or don't like her, she still was able to succeed. But the thing about intentionally hurting people, unintentionally, I think Jordan kind of unintentionally hurt people, which I think is different than the person who goes out and says, I'm going to intentionally hurt somebody
Yeah.
Right.
to be successful. I'm going to intentionally kill somebody to be successful.
Right.
I think that's a difference because their actions are always founded in kindness. They have some sense of integrity. They have a sense of honesty. You know, they have empathy. And so although they're trying to do better, they're not going to hurt someone. Because somebody at a somebody who's making cars could say, well, I can make millions and millions of more dollars if I can create cars where they have no emissions controls.
Right.
Should they be able to do it?
Right. Nah, I mean, nah.
No.
No, they shouldn't be able to do that.
Nah, they shouldn't
right?
be able to do that. Yeah.
They should be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I can charge you whatever, because if I charge you whatever, I can make all kind of crazy money off of it, right? Shucks, man.
Yeah.
Should I do that? When I hear that sometimes people pay $200 for a therapy session, I'm like, man, can I actually charge that much for a therapy
Right,
session?
right.
Should I do that?
Yeah.
But that might make it hard for certain people
Put somebody
to
else
get
in a
therapy.
financial
Yeah,
bond.
yeah,
Put them in
for
a
sure,
financial band.
for your own personal gain.
So yeah, for my own personal gain. So my moral ethics makes me have issues with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I see cash charging $100 for haircuts, I be looking at my clients like, man, I should go up on you, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's like,
But but your price is your price.
yeah. But
At the end of the day,
but my
so-
moral compass puts me to the point where it's like, I know it will look out for me, but it'll put them in a financial bind. So
Yeah.
Exactly. So to put them out of financial bind, so you don't want to do that. And so because that kindness kicks in, and it helps you realize, and that your honesty and your integrity, your empathy, those parts of you kicks in, and it helps you realize, look, I don't need to go that way. I think to have good character, we really have to be able to consider the feelings and emotions of every, others. And we have to understand that if they good, we good, and we good, they good. We have to think like that. When we can't think like that, then that's when we have a problem.
Right. Yeah.
So, anything else, man, y'all want to add to this? Well, I'll let y'all.
it's good conversation, man.
No,
Hopefully
good conversation.
people check this out, man, and really take the nuggets from it, man. It's good.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, you gotta. I was just thinking about another. Like I'm about to do what you did. The song, because I was working out. Like I said, I was working out Jay-Z this morning. And some people feel like they might gotta do certain things to give back. Because Jay-Z said, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. So I got rich and gave back. To me, that's the win-win.
But
Ask the people at Marcy Projects.
He said that. So I mean,
He said that, but what does Marcy Projects say? I've been to New York and I ain't seen much that Jay-Z done did in Marcy.
Yeah. So I mean, you might have to charge that
No
$100 a cut to give back. I don't know. Just threw that out there.
When you take them from somebody else's plate just for them to have a haircut, man, and they may not be able to afford it.
Yeah, no, charging $100 a cut is crazy.
Crazy.
Like, I get a haircut every week, but I've been going to my barber since I was in high school, so that's a little different. But that's OD. But at the end of the day,
if it was just about, I was in Strongsville. I did well in Strongsville as a therapist, right? I did well, but I came back to the East Side. You know why?
Look out for your people.
Look out for my people.
yeah,
I look out for my people because ethically and morally, I went and got all this training, all this education, and all I did was go to Strongsville. Yes, I appreciate the experience I had there and everything. I enjoyed it, but
it ain't feel right.
But I knew I had to come back over here because it really helped shape my perspective on how people saw me. Because I'm like, here I am, this chocolate black man over here in Strongsville. These people coming in and they just seeing me, telling me all their life business. I'm doing fine. But guess what? Ain't too many of my people. I'm not seeing too many of the people that I grew up around.
Yeah,
You feel what I'm saying?
That's real.
So,
No, that's real.
So how you approach business, you don't have to vacate all your ethics, your values, and your perspectives to do business and be well at it.
Yeah, that's 100% right. I agree with that.
But anyway, y'all, we're going to continue this discussion. But the next time, we're going to talk about conscientiousness, openness. We're going to talk about sociability. We're going to talk about neuroticism. Yeah, we got to take care of that mental health because that's an important part of our personality and our character. Also, these are critical to relationships, those ones I just named. Yes. And agreeability, which is kind of sort of like flexibility. But anyway, if you like this episode, please like us, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section. What is a character that you would like to improve in yourself? Thank you. Guys, got anything else y'all want to say?
No, that's it.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and
Ahura. Don't forget Ahura, right? What is it?
Uhuru.
Ahuru.
Art equals freedom.
All right, he's a very good.
UHURU.
All right.
Check us out.
And Reese?
Yeah.
And hey, BK Watts, has got anything you want to say back there?
Beard Gang, y'all know what it is. Revolt Creators Network. We out here in these streets. Quit playing. Tap in, tune in. We'll catch y'all on the next one in the banks.
Yeah, all right. And this is the Revolt World.
Donut Gang. Donut Gang.
Donut gang. Go get your donuts.
Don't be a zero.
Yeah, don't be a zero. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye.
Peace.
Thanks.